Hi guys, my name is Molly. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a mum here in the UK of 2 children. My husband and I have a biological daughter, and more recently we brought home our son through the UK adoption process. Today's video is going to be about where you can adopt. Do you go for a voluntary agency or do you choose a local authority? This is a big question because where you adopt is going to take you throughout the whole UK adoption process, all of your family finding, your panels, and some of your support. The adoption process tends to be the same in every local authority and every voluntary agency. The UK adoption process is technically a standard process, but every single place can tweak things slightly differently. There isn't an obvious difference within the process between a VA or an LA. The main difference between a voluntary agency and a local authority is that within a local authority, there are already children in care. So if you adopt through a local authority, a lot of them tend to place the adopters within that local authority with the children they have in care. So there are already children ready to be adopted. Within a voluntary agency, they do not have children within their care. Their goal is to provide families to other local authorities to adopt children. In our experience, myself and my husband chose a voluntary agency and we did not have any troubles family finding. We were not waiting long at all, which is one of the misconceptions about choosing a voluntary agency. Whilst local authorities do like to use their own pool of adopters first, it doesn't mean that there is always going to be a prospective adopter or a prospective adoptive couple suitable for a particular child, in which case they do have to branch out to voluntary agencies. When you're looking at where to choose to adopt, there are definitely some steps that I want to take you through that we undertook that really helped us make that decision. My husband and I live in the middle of about 4 or 5 different local authorities. Each local authority can basically set a radius on where they will allow a prospective adopter to live. So we were eligible to adopt through every single one of these local authorities, and there were also 3 or 4 voluntary agencies that we could have adopted with as well. So we had a lot of choice. The first thing to do is request information packs from every single one that you can. Some post them, some email them. We found that some didn't even really have information packs and they directed us to their website. So what I did is I researched them all, I compiled notes on every single one. We got posted some information packs, we got emailed some information packs. At this point, we also had a couple of local authorities and a voluntary agency phone us for an initial phone conversation, which I was incredibly impressed with. It showed that they were really keen, that they were efficient, they were on the ball, and that they really wanted us to adopt with them. When you have requested information packs from them all, have a really good read. And if you're adopting as a couple, make sure that both of you have a really good read, make pros and cons for each, what you like about them, and also reflect upon that experience of requesting the information pack. Reflection is so important here because you are going to be glued to your local authority or your voluntary agency for quite a while. When you're looking through the information packs, take note of the basic information, how the process works for them, how long that they recommend it will take, what kind of children they have in their care if it is a local authority, is there a certain age range that they advertise, is there a certain ethnic pool, are they really focused on promoting sibling adoption, what costs will be applied to you. These are things that you want to note down just ahead of time before having some further discussions with them. Secondly, once you have narrowed it down to around 2 or 3, go and attend information events. A lot of agencies and LAs will have events online still within the global pandemic. I know that we've seen our agency doing Facebook Lives and Zoom calls. Definitely attend them. It is so important to go along to an information evening or an information event, and a lot of LAs and VAs will not let you proceed any further until you have attended this. It's a really good opportunity to go, be within that agency or LA environment, meet some of the social workers face to face, and that is crucial so that you can kind of reflect on how that initial relationship would start to build with them. In mine and my husband's experience, when we attended our information evening, we were there for probably about 3 hours. We sat down in a room full of other prospective adopters. They kept the sessions quite small, which meant that we were able to really ask a lot of questions Everybody was given an opportunity to explain their reasons for adopting, if they wanted to share that, what some of their concerns were, what some of the myths were that they wanted busting. And for us specifically, we did go in with a big list of questions. Now, prior to this, our agency, like I said earlier, did give us an initial phone call, which lasted about half an hour. I did it on my lunch break at work. It was a absolutely wonderful, positive adoption support worker, member of staff, I think, and she asked us a lot of questions, which she would then pass on to a social worker, who again would then come and visit us later on for initial conversation, which we absolutely loved. Information evening basically took us through the UK adoption assessment process, what we can expect. It gave us a very realistic picture of the children in care and how the trauma, neglect, potential separation and loss will impact them in the future, and how that will impact us as their parents and as a family. For myself and my husband, having a biological daughter, we had a lot of questions about that, and the social workers were happy to stay late and talk about that with us, which we really, really valued. They did not shy away from answering some of the harder questions about the challenges that we will face, some of the challenges the agency has seen other adoptive families face. They did not paint it in a positive, happy picture. They were very real, and that is something that we really, really did value. When you do attend these information events, it's really important that you really resonate with how you feel. So was it very formal? Was it very informal? Which one of those do you prefer? Did you get on with the social workers? Because that's quite important. You're going to be assigned a social worker for the 6 months of the adoption assessment process. And as well, one of these social workers will probably be responsible for your family finding. Do you get on with them? Do you get a good vibe from them? If not, then maybe you're not going to be the most comfortable having such a close relationship with that social worker. Also going to have to speak about a lot of challenging times in your life, so it is so important that you do feel comfortable around these people. Were all of your questions answered? Go with a list of questions that are relevant to you, specific to your ideal criteria of a child. I've heard of many people who've gone and said, we're really looking for a 0 to 2 child, and some LAs have said, sorry, we don't have many of those within our care, and therefore that has turned them away and they've gone elsewhere. Were you happy with the way the questions were answered? Did they go into detail? Did they spend a lot of time talking to you and your partner individually? Were you happy with the approach to family finding? Like I said, a lot of LAs do family find internally first. I have a lot of friends that have adopted with local authorities, and they have not been able to sign up to Linkmaker, which is a nationwide profile search for children within care, until after 3 months of that LA purely family finding internally. This is something that me and my husband really considered. It's one of the reasons that we did choose a voluntary agency, because we wanted the ability to family find straight away nationwide, and get our profile out there nationally as quickly as possible. But everybody's situation is completely different, and family finding alone is not a reason to choose a voluntary agency over a local authority. Like I said, it's so important to reflect. You really need to reflect on how you felt around the social workers and in their presence. You are going to have to trust these people to know every single thing about your life, the good and the bad, put this into a huge report called the Prospective Adopters Report, and then take you to panel and stand by your side and watch you become an approved adopter and hopefully match you with a child later on. Social workers do spend an incredible amount of time in your home, so it's important that you do feel comfortable with them. My husband and I really did focus on how we felt we got on, even with the admin staff at our agency, social workers that were not our social worker, and I can honestly say we got on with every single person. And when we walked into our agency, it was so positive, everyone was so happy, and it completely reflected our personalities there. We gelled straight away, and we walked out of that agency knowing that that was the one for us. Once you have chosen who to adopt with, you normally just let them know, and that is when then they start their own protocol for getting you signed up to stage 1. Our agency did a pre-registration interview, which was phenomenal. It was not part of the actual official UK adoption assessment process. It was more about the information gathering beforehand, and it was done before we gave them the final yes, we would like to adopt through you. But I have talked about that more in my UK adoption assessment process video, which I will link below if you are interested. It is also extremely helpful if you do know anybody who has adopted or have access to speak to anybody who's adopted, to see where they have gone through the adoption process. Have they gone through a voluntary agency? Have they gone through a local authority? If so, which one? What were the challenges? What were the good things? How was family finding? How did they find the atmosphere? Luckily, my husband, through his work, we were able to speak to quite a few people that had adopted through various local authorities, so he had really good conversations with them. They were more than happy to give up their time to discuss their experiences, and it gave us a really good personal, realistic expectation for each local authority. We hadn't actually met anybody that had adopted through our agency at all. It was just on a whim that we went to the information evening, and boy are we glad that we did. It was definitely the right choice for us. We went into the UK adoption assessment process 100% confident with our choice, 100% comfortable with our social worker, and so excited to just build a relationship with that agency and get to know everybody there better. I hope that has been helpful for some of you that are considering adoption. Even if you're not at the point yet where you are saying, yes, we are going to adopt, you can still do this process to gather information about the adoption process and voluntary agencies and local authorities to see that if it is the right decision for you. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future. You can also find me on Twitter or over on Instagram at MollyMamaAdopt if you do have any questions. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye!